Hello and welcome to an episode of Tester Tech. Today I want to revisit an interesting project called testcontainers.org. And a couple of months ago I did a video about that using the Java stack, but today I want to revisit it using the Python version of it. So I'll go through a blog post written by someone posted on the Fedora Magazine, and I will use that as a guide to show you step by step how to create new test containers using the Python libraries and also using container utilities. For this is interesting. I think it's interesting for people who want to look at the test containers project and using the Python and are also on Linux and automating and just want to see how it goes, what you run into and how you can use it for your own projects. And that's it. Without further ado, let's dig into the video.
Like said in the introduction, I want to visit the test containers again, but this time I will be using Python. So I stumbled upon a cool article of the Fedora Magazine, which is highly advised to subscribe to this magazine, and you can subscribe. In my case, I have it as my homepage. But you can also join it through email, and very cool, very diverse articles are posted here about interesting things like Ansible, Python, testing of Fedora, various variants of Fedora, including this cool i3 Fedora spin. So I'm also keen to look at this one. That's a little sidetrack, but I was looking into, I wanted to revisit test containers, but test containers, I already have a video about test containers in Java. And I wanted to do a variant of test containers and show you the video about test containers using Python. Well, I visited this GitHub repository, test containers Python, and I started following it. Looks very promising indeed. And I started with it, pip install test containers and on MySQL. And then I tried to use this example, import SQL alchemy. But there it was a little bit difficult to make it work on my machine at least. I don't know what's the deal with that, but yeah, and I went searching, so maybe I can revisit it later and maybe I can show it, but it's a different topic, I think. So I did some more searching and I discovered this article of Fedora Magazine of test containers with Python and ConU. So ConU is container utilities, and that's a very interesting project indeed. So ConU is being used to communicate to those containers as a backend. So you can use it in your Python testing scripts, as you can maybe see. So ConU is supported on Python 3.6 plus only. So I was preparing this video and I used Python 3.9 and I was indeed facing some issues. And I rolled back to Python 3.7 and then it worked. So in this video I will be using a Fedora virtual machine, Fedora 33 with Python 3.7 installed. And as always, I'll have the link to the GitHub repository in the description below. And ConU is very interesting. And what I want to do with you is follow along with this article. Of course, I will have the link to this article in the description below. And with you together, build a test container and create a test script in Python. And then run that test using the test container. Okay, sounds good. Well, then stick around. We will start straight away. And first things first, I have a Fedora virtual machine in the Boxes application running. But I will quickly check what the IP address is. And I have a snapshot of git, vim, sshd and updates done. I'll revert back to that state. In case you're wondering about how I create these virtual machines I use for my testing, I have a separate video on that topic. was my previous video, so I will also have the link to that video below in the description. Okay, that's reverted to that snapshot. Let's click on it and let's check the IP address. So IP address is this one ending with 187, SSH demo at that one. Okay, so I connected before and I need to remove this entry from a known host. Let me pause it. I paused the video because yeah, that's some confidential information there, what kind of host I visit. And let's continue. Okay, now I'm connected to that virtual machine. I can minimize it and then we can start following this tutorial. So to get started, first make a dir container test. Okay, dir container test. A CD into there. Okay, next, touch a Docker file and touch app.py. Touch is the command, if you don't know, is for creating a new file. Touch Docker file, touch app.py. I have these two files created. Let me make it a little bit smaller and this one as well. So, okay, that's looking good. Copy the following code inside the app.py file. This is the customary basic Flask application that returns. So Flask is like a Python application server, something like that. And this is one for the app, vim app.py, insert, paste, X to save. And then next step, create and build a test container. So this is the stuff for the Docker file, vim Docker file. Oops. Yes, insert, paste, exit. So before exit, you see that from registry.fedoraproject.org, Fedora minimal, latest version, that's the image, and run micro DNF on it. So it's like a light version of DNF, something like that. Package management tool, Fedora. Install Python 3 Flask, micro DNF clean all. Okay, let me first check the Python version, what I have running. 3.9. Let me install Python version 3.7, like I mentioned in the beginning. Sudo dnf install Python 3.7. Okay. Python 3.7 is installed, but let me check what's the default version. Still Python 3.9. And in Fedora and other Red Hat based distributions, you have like the alternatives. So alternatives list or list, grab Python. Let's see, it's not in there. So this is the list. So just a quick sidestep. So you have multiple versions for an application. If, for example, you say Java, then you will have maybe 11, maybe 9, or maybe even another version. And the default system Java in this case will point to a specific version of Java. Let me list Java. I'm doing that wrong. So that's config Java, for example. And you see, in this case is 1, but you could add multiple here. And you have multiple, you can switch easily between multiple versions of Java. That's basically it. Okay, keep the current. So simple sidestep. And then I'll quickly set up that alternative for Python. So a good tutorial to like manage multiple versions in Fedora is the one from Linux config. So the one from Linux config shows you some commands, and the command I use is alternatives, and then I will install user bin Python, and it's called Python, and this is the actual link. Let me paste it in here, and it's 3.7 and it's on 1, so that would be 1. And let me just ls now user bin Python. So I have a couple of Python. I think I have two, 3.9. Let me just add 3.9 as in there as well. And that's 3.9 is 2. So if we would check alternatives, config Python, there will be 2 there. As you can see, 3.9 is the default now, and 3.7. Let me switch to that one. So 3.7 is the default Python version for the system. Let me exit out of there. Okay, just a simple sidestep. And now all things I do are done on that 3.7 Python version. Back to the file. This one I have, and so let me quickly check Docker. Docker command not found. Okay, I don't have Docker. Okay, let me just continue here. Sudo dnf Docker. It's just a container technology actually, so I think for Fedora actually I would prefer these examples being done on Podman and not on Docker. Okay, that's done. And let me start it here. And then we can build it. It will look into this directory and check out the Docker file, and then it will build it using that Docker file. So as you can maybe see, it has an error here. cgroup mount point doesn't exist, unknown. But I did already solve it. Let me quickly search for it. At least I did not solve it, of course, but I used a workaround present on GitHub. This one, I will have the link to this workaround in case you run into that error. And for now, I will just focus on getting it up and running as soon as possible, and I will not do too many side steps. At least I hope not. Okay, so this step is done. Let's continue to the blog post. And once that is done, I did this, and yes, we can run it. Yes. Okay, so running on a web server port 5000. Let's open up a new terminal, and if we would want to test it, we could do like a simple curl command on that port and see. Yes, so get 200 hello container world. Okay, leave that there. So like that, it's no problem. And that is done. Leave that there, like I mentioned. And then we can go to the next step and create a test script. And I'll leave that running in a corner here. And let's move that one there. CD into the container test and follow along. So create a virtual environment called .venv. Source it. So activate the virtual environment. Do some pip installs. Pip upgrade. Pip is upgraded. Now the container utilities, install that one. That's done. And let's attach test container and open it up in Vim. Okay, then copy it and paste the following script. The heart of this demo. Insert, paste it in there. Let's go over what's happening in the script. So import the container utilities. The port is 5000, like you also saw in the curl command, etc. And then the Docker backend as the backend. So the image is the backend image class, the one we created. And I think this is to do with the exposing of the port 5000 or something like that. And container image run via binary. So you will run that container based on that image. And then assert if the container is running and if it's on that port. And response HTTP hello container world. We also saw that one. And then stop it and delete the container. That's the script. Let's save it. And let's check if there's anything more we can do. Or else I would say, let's hit that button and see if the test is running okay. So for that, I'll use pytest and then test container.py. Okay. So what do I see here? I see that Docker blah, blah, blah. So Docker version failed. It seems that the Docker daemon is misconfigured, or this user can't communicate with Docker-D. So one of the downsides of Docker is that you need to allow the user to, it has to do with security, stuff like that. Let's quickly fix it and I'll rerun the command. So in case you also, let me just show it to you. So the sudo group add docker. So the Docker group already exists. And then sudo user mod add the user to the Docker group. This command. Okay. But let me sudo service. So restarting Docker service. And also let me exit. Okay, yeah, exited there and demo. This one as well. Expected error waiting for container. Okay. Exit. This one. Okay, let's go into the container test and let's activate that environment source. venv bin activate. Now in the venv, let me history. If you hit Control R, then you can search. Sorry. Reverse search. I think so yeah, this one. So sudo docker run flask app container. Hold on. Let me check if move that here. Let me check if the change was successful, right? So docker run. Yeah. So we can do it without sudo, and I'll leave that running there. And for this, go into the same directory again. Source VM bin activate. Okay, pytest test container. Okay, so I wasn't expecting this, to be honest. So why does it? Okay, here you go. Okay. Let me see if we can fix it. So I think I found it somewhere. So the Python version 3.7.10, but if you look into the virtual environment, 3.9.5. So 3.7.10. Let's hope if this fixes it. Let me, I can activate it again. So source VM, oops, dot VM. Activate Python version. So still 3.9. Why is it doing that? Aha. So the command to create the virtual env was run against Python 3. So let me Python exit here, Python 3 version. Yeah, so the Python 3 version is linking to Python 3.9.5 and not to the one we want. Let's go into the cd into now sudo and oops. Oh, this is my local machine demo. That's Python 3. I think it's similar for this one, to be honest. Yeah. Let's go to alternatives. No, let's create it's an alias. Python. So Python 3 is, of course, it's going to. So Python 3 should go to Python. So remove Python 3 from this. Yes. Let's link it Python 3 to Python here. Oh, I think I syntaxed it wrong. Grep Python. So Python 3 now goes to Python. So this should work. Let's exit out of there, cd into my home directory, go to container test. And let's ping the virtual env. Let's remove the virtual env directory and let's do this again. So Python, let's first check Python 3 version 3.7, and now we can safely create that Python virtual environment. A little bit of a sidetrack, but I think it's okay. So this virtual environment, I now have it, and pip again. Oops, pip. And pip install container utilities. So I already have that file. Let's py test test container. Okay, that's unfortunate. Maybe it has to do with this one is still running, right? Let's exit out of there. And that's still in that virtual environment. Let's run it again. Okay, so that's at least, I think this is looking okay, but it does show an error. Assert b get http 11 200 in, and it is this. Of course, yeah. That's because I'm calling it from another IP address. I think it looks very different, but that could be due to the version of all these libraries, right? So if you look at this, it's in August 2018. This one is published, so could be a little bit outdated. Let's see if we can fix that error. This one, let's yank it. It's very date specific, this. Let's see if we could remove that entire piece here. And just focus on the get HTTP 1.1. In logs. So it's basically just saying that we need to visit the logs. So I think that this should be sufficient to prove that. We already tested the response code. Let's write it and let's run it. Okay, so it says no tests ran. A little bit strange, to be honest. Maybe it's because they're all passed. Because we did see errors. Let's test the test. Always good. Let's check it again. So there you see, if we reverse it, it will fail. So it is running collected 0 items, 1 error, right? So collected 0 items. I don't know exactly why it was saying that 0 tests were run, but oh, I think I know why. Let's write. If you see, there are actually no tests here. So nothing to do with a test. Because I think it triggers on the word test. Yeah, if you have PyTest, then you need to add a file, a class with test in there, and then it will say collecting tests, etc. It's like the more test scenario, and now it's just doing the asserts, but I know it's working, so that's good. Yeah, I think just to summarize, what did we do from scratch? Again, we followed this tutorial. We had some minor things, one to do with the Python version, one to do with the Docker we are using. So add the user to Docker group. And after that, I think we are, that's the Python version. We fixed that. And then we could run this testcontainer.py and it will, so the first time I had it already running and it was giving some errors there. So I closed it. So maybe it's clear in the article, but yeah, okay. So here in the line with the Flask app container now running and ready for testing, you can stop it using Ctrl+C. I should have done that after this curl command, right? Okay, but yeah, you can follow along very easy. And some extra information. So I think before I end this video for now, so all credits go to this author, Clement Verna. Good job, Clement, and keep up the good work. Very interesting article. I don't know if this will reach you, but anyway, credit where credit's due. And I think also what I learned is that the container utility is very interesting. So I will keep tabs on that one. It's very cool. And also one other thing, Fedora Magazine, in case you're a Fedora user, I would definitely say visit this website often. Very interesting projects. Also, just to investigate, let me quickly show you. So testing days, you see something about Freenode and IRC linking, Fedora Silverblue, RPM based, Ansible, very interesting subjects. If we go to the next, some encryption topics. So even some COBOL. So and I think it's very interesting. Good folks at Fedora, please keep up the good work. And that's it for now.
That's it for this video, guys. I hope you liked it and maybe learned something new. And if you haven't subscribed already, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. It will be greatly appreciated. See you in the next one. That's it. Bye bye.